Hi guys, and welcome back to my podcast. This is your host Betty, and I hope you're all having a wonderful week. So today I'm going to be telling you all about my sleep issues, my sleep disorder. So yes, I have a sleep disorder that's called idiopathic hypersomnia, which basically means, the word idiopathic means unknown, and hypersomnia means that I sleep too much. So for some unknown reason, I get overly sleepy. Overly sleepy? Is that how you say it? I don't know. But I get very sleepy with this condition. So when I explain this, basically I have to tell people, well, it's like narcolepsy. So that people realize that idiopathic hypersomnia, or IH for short, it's a sleep disorder. There's actually a Japanese word that describes the meaning of it, and it says, the word is inemuri. Oh my god, I don't think I wrote it right. Inemuri. So basically means being present while asleep, which is what this disorder does to me. Basically, I'm present, but I'm asleep. Like there's times where I've noticed this because I would literally fall asleep eating. Like people would be like, "Oh, you're asleep," and I'm like, "No, but I'm eating." And they're like, "But you're asleep." No. So I've fallen asleep in the shower. I've fallen asleep washing dishes. I think the worst time was when I was washing knives and I had them all under the water and I was trying to grab them. And I literally was falling asleep right there, touching the water and everything. So it was, a little bit dangerous at that time. And that's when I realized I needed to go see a doctor. So I went to see a sleep doctor. And they did a lot of testing. Basically, they had me do sleep logs, sleep studies. I have to fill out an Epworth sleepiness scale every time I go to see the doctor. And all those things. I literally had to be there for an overnight sleep study, and then I had to stay there for, I forgot the name of the other study, but you have to stay there from the morning until like 4 p.m. because you have to take so many naps every so often. So basically I was taking like a 20-minute nap every 2 hours, so they could see how fast I was falling asleep, which was I think on average, it said it was like 8 minutes it took me to fall asleep, or no, it was less. So to get onto the scale of idiopathic hypersomnia, you have to fall asleep in less than 8 minutes, which was what I got into. In less than 8 minutes it took me to fall asleep. So it was like super fast. Taking naps all day, literally every 2 hours, and every time I was able to fall asleep, a lot of people would not be able to do that. They'll be like, well, I'm not tired anymore, I can't sleep. 20 minutes pass and you haven't slept, then if you haven't slept, then, you're done. But I was able to sleep every time. And after so many naps, then you're done, you can go home. I was like, well, this is school, right? But it was not school. It was just me there. It was just the TV I had, my iPad and my phone and everything. But it was not as fun. It was just, it was just being like in a hospital room, a little bit fancier hospital room with my own bathroom. But I was connected to all these cables. At night, they had to like connect me to a bunch of cables that they put electrodes in my head, all over my, my brain, like around my hair, around my head, in my chest, in my legs, to see if there was any restless syndrome, in my arms, like basically everything, to see how my body was reacting while I was sleeping. So literally I had to like just sleep there and they'll watch me sleep, and then, whatever. I think I was choking in the middle of the night once. So, and then you had like all the cords that they have to like put into, into a thing. They connected into like a console where the sleep machine is. So you have like this little thing full of cables that you can carry with you if you need to go to the bathroom, right? So at that point you have to disconnect yourself from the machine and then go. So, a lot of those cables, they removed them in the morning because they were not necessary for the sleep study during the day. They were just like at night, like the ones on the legs and all that. So it was a whole thing. And yeah, I was like, I don't think I can do this again. It was not fun being there for so long. It was just like, because it's not like, I can do whatever I want. It's not really. Like, all literally I have to do is stay awake during the day and then go to sleep when they tell me to. And it was like very like schedule, and it was crazy. It was back when COVID was still kind of bad, so they had to test me, and then like I couldn't be around anyone. Basically, it was just me in the room, and then the sleep specialist, the technician that was there. So somebody had to like literally watch me all night sleep, and then during the day they gave me food and all that, but it was just literally, it just felt like, not as fun as you think. You're like, oh, I'm getting a day off to just go to sleep. Yeah, no, it's not as fun. Not as fun as you think when you cannot do anything that you want to do. Like, just lay down. You can't, because you have to go to sleep when they tell you to go to sleep. So it was a whole thing. Basically, this idiopathic hypersomnia is, like I said, like narcolepsy. And it's an equally debilitating condition that commonly presents along additional side effects that include long and unrefreshing naps, longer nocturnal sleep, difficulties in awakening, excessive sleep inertia, and impaired neuropsychological function. So yeah, it basically affects like everything. Literally, I have difficulties sleeping, difficulties waking up. I can take naps, but I don't feel like I've slept enough. Like I don't feel refreshed. Some people will take like, what do they call, cat naps, and they literally just like last like 10-15 minutes. I cannot. If I sleep less than 30, I would literally just get a headache. So there's no point in me going to sleep if I'm just gonna like do that, because I would just wake up with a headache. So and it's, it's a thing that I've had forever. I just never knew that it wasn't normal. I always thought I was just like always tired, and then, most of the time I was always like more sleepy than other people, like less able to stay awake. And I just thought it was just me, that's just who I am. But I never knew that this was like something else. Like, I've taken naps that it was like an hour or two. I wouldn't take any longer than 2, but for me, it's like a nap has to be like an hour or 2. Like, what? Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. So, with this, there's a lot of difficulties that come with it. Like in the workplace, there's fatigue and impaired concentration. So, like I said, I got it done during COVID. And, while I feel dislike the lockdown, a substantial proportion perceive that the experience was more positive. Like people with idiopathic hypersomnia saw that it was better for them to be on lockdown, like telecommuting, telework and all that. So there was analysis that observed sleep improvements in like nap scheduling, circadian alignment, and reduced commute time. So with all that, people like us, we had more time to like schedule basically our daily lives, and we had more time to do regular things so we wouldn't fall asleep. So to me, it was an improvement. I was working and I was doing my best work because whatever. So, in addition to that, there's activities. There was more time to do activities related to your well-being. So in this study that I read about, it says that if replicated, it could sustain that employers should provide teleworking as a reasonable workplace adjustment for individuals with narcolepsy and idiopathic hypersomnia, which is something I wanted to get when I was in my old job. I wanted them to keep me on telework because to me it was better. It just had more benefits to me having this condition and, having anxiety and all that stuff, which they denied it. But I haven't read about this study back then, and if there was more studies, that's probably something that I would have been able to get, because basically it's kind of like a disability, and the employer would have to adjust to that problem that I have, If not, it would be kind of like discrimination. Which, at this point it's like, I wish I would have known, but yeah. So typically idiopathic hypersomnia presents alongside several key features of circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm, it's the 24-hour cycle that is part of the body's internal clock. So when there are disorders, your clock doesn't work correctly or doesn't sync with the day and the night. So basically, the circadian rhythm is, how we are able to sleep day and night, right? The daylight and the nighttime and all that stuff. But for people like us, it doesn't work. For people with sleep disorders, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't do that. So the problems that we can have is like falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up too early, and not being able to go back to sleep, getting sleep but not feeling refreshed by it, or feeling alert during the day. Basically like having issues staying awake. Also poor concentration, impaired performance, poor coordination, headaches, and stomach problems. All of that I have. All of it. Like, just everything in that list I have. Which is crazy, right? Because it's like, you would just think that, oh, you have multiple issues, but this one issue is causing me all these issues. So, the idiopathic hypersomnia basically, like I said, there's a lot of disruption in the circadian rhythm and delayed sleep phase symptoms that include like excessive daytime sleepiness. So during the day, we're like feeling like really asleep at random times for no reason, profound sleep inertia, and cognitive dysfunction. So, this is all in the brain. There's something in our brain that, just couldn't connect. Just, if you know me, it's like, oh, she has sleep issues. Okay, that makes sense. It just makes sense. So for that, I tried a lot of things, before I actually got diagnosed. Well, before I got the sleep study, because the doctor said, I think this is what you have, but we have to confirm. So I did a lot of like bright light therapy. That's, I bought this light that it's supposed to simulate the daylight or the daytime. So you feel like, it's daytime. Your brain needs to absorb the light and feel like it has to be awake. They didn't work that well. I did chronotherapy, which is adjusting your bedtime slowly. Like, if you go to bed at 9 or if you go to bed at 10, and then you wake up at a certain hour until you get to the time you want to go to sleep, so that your body gets used to it. Also, lifestyle changes, like naps, avoiding taking caffeine or nicotine. I don't smoke, but for other people, before bed, which to me, really, I could drink a coffee. I could drink literally a Coke, a soda, right there in the bed, and I would still go to sleep. This is probably another one of the signs that led me to go to the doctor, because I would take coffee. I wouldn't take energy drinks because when I was in college, my first few years of college, a long time ago, I took one of those 5-hour energy drink thingies, and it just made my heart go so fast. I felt like I was gonna die. So ever since, I've never ever taken energy drinks. They're not good for me. They're not good for my stomach. They're not good for my heart. So that was a no-go. So I don't take that. So it had to be either caffeine. I tried to take caffeine pills because the coffee was just not giving me enough of the caffeine. And those sometimes would make me a little jittery if it was too much. So I had to basically just know, okay, I think I can take half a pill, and it would kind of keep me awake for a while before it starts giving me, the jitters. So it was a whole thing, trying to stay awake. I try to eat candy, trying to eat food, trying to just being in a room where it was really cold while the fan was hitting me. Because if my body gets too comfortable into a warm temperature, I would literally just fall asleep right away. So I tried so many things, and luckily I never fell asleep driving. But there was a few times where I've been driving for a long time, and I was feeling like, oh my god, I'm about to crash. But it's not exactly like the narcolepsy where you just have episodes where you just boop, crash. You don't even know, and it comes and you just and you can get into accidents and all that. For the hypersomnia, the idiopathic hypersomnia is more gradually you start feeling like you're really, really tired, and at some point you just cannot stop it. And your body is just shutting down, your eyes are closing, your body is shutting down. There was literally times where I would be typing, I'm typing. I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm typing because I'm taking notes, but my brain is not computing that I have to read the notes anymore. My ears working, my hands are working, but my brain is no longer computing that I'm awake. My body keeps working, literally, and my brain is nope, you're out of fume, you need to get more gas. And it was the oddest thing, honestly. I mean, it still is. I mean, now that I know what I have, it's not so odd, but it is odd to just, not being able to control the staying awake. Now I got into medications. Right now I'm under stimulants to keep me awake because I couldn't take, there was some type of stimulants that were better for me, but I couldn't take. And then there's this, since this is a very rare disease or disorder, there's not a lot of information out there. There's not a lot of studies. So there has been a little bit more studies lately. And there was this medication that the doctor recommended me to take that it's specifically for idiopathic hypersomnia, but I did not want to take because it was something that would make me so sleepy at night. It would literally just force me to stay asleep. But that also means that maybe they couldn't wake me up at night. So if something happened, it would be very hard to wake me up at night. And since I have kids, obviously that's not an option because, you need to be awake. So I didn't want to go that route. The stimulants are not the best because they can affect your heart. They can affect, a lot of things. But we try with different ones. I try with different stimulants. and one of them didn't work at all. Like, it's like, you know, like a placebo basically. Not even, because it was doing nothing to me. No, nothing. So then we switched for an extended release, and that was just keeping me up more, like, longer, but at night. Instead of during the day, I felt the crash. Like, it was, I would probably take it around 7 in the morning, and by like 10, 11, I wouldn't make it to 12 when I already felt like I'm crashing. Like, I'm just crashing. Like, I need to go to sleep. It's crazy. And it's crazy, you know. So we switched to an immediate release medication. And I take that twice a day now. I take it in the morning, and then I take it around noon or so when I feel like, you know, I'm gonna fall asleep again. So that's what I do, just so that it can keep me going throughout the work day, basically. But obviously I take it every day, because otherwise my body would just be crashing more, because it's, you know, like withdrawing from the medication, and then again, up again, down again, up again, down again. So that's not a good thing, because I did that for some time where I wasn't taking the medication on the weekends, and I would just crash hard. So it's just, that was not an option. Obviously, that's not something the doctor suggested, but that's something I did. And, you know, now I'm better, and I still, like, I would take my medication in the morning. I take it around 6, 7 in the morning, and sometimes by 8, 9, I'm already, like, so tired again. I'm like, how? Like, there's people that would take this and it would literally, like, keep them up all day. But for me, it's like, nope, I'm not gonna stay awake. So, you know, the sleep and the wake cycles also affect the mood. So, you know, a lot of the depression, anxiety probably is related to that. You know, the sleeping thing, when you say, you know, you didn't sleep enough, so you're all, like, in a bad mood. Well, blame my idiopathic hypersomnia, basically. So, you know, it was just like, it's just been a crazy thing. I think it's been now like maybe 3 years since I was diagnosed. I think I was diagnosed in 2021, maybe. I'm not really sure. I don't remember, but, you know, I've been on medication for a while, and I go see my sleep doctor every 3 months. They can only send me the medication, you know, every month. I have to send them a message and say I need the medication again, and then they send it, since it's a controlled substance and all that. So it's kind of like tedious, you know, but it has improved, you know, my life. Like, I'm not so sleepy all the time, but still, like, there's days where I'm still, like, so sleepy, and I can't even control it. And, you know, like, the other day I was thinking, like, you know, maybe it's because I'm more of a night owl, but also the idiopathic hypersomnia causes me to, you know, my circadian rhythm is not day and night. It's just whenever it wants, it's time to go to sleep. And there's people that have, like, you know, they go to sleep, like, super early, like at 5, 6, and then they wake up. They're already up, like, in between 1 and 5 in the morning. Like, they're already, like, done sleeping, and they're ready to go with their day. Which is something that, for me, is, like, you know, kind of makes sense that I get so tired so early, and then I wake up, like, at 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm done. I'm, like, ready to continue. Now, it's only recommended, for me, you know, to sleep less, not more than 9 hours, because also, you know, prolonged sleep, it's really not helping me at all, and it probably would just make me more sleepy. So, you know, it's just, like, a lot. Trying to pursue a normal work life balance comes with great difficulty. Like, there's a lot of, like I said, workplace stigma that misattributes sleepiness to being lazy, which may limit career progression. You know, people may think, oh, you know, she's always like falling asleep or whatever, like she's just lazy, she doesn't want to work. But nope, it's actually my hypersomnia that is just controlling me, and there's literally nothing I can do. You know, it's like the narcolepsy. There's different medications for narcolepsy as well, but since I don't have narcolepsy per se, I wouldn't be able to take those. Like, there's the amount of medication that is for idiopathic hypersomnia is very limited. A lot of it is like off, what do they call it? Off label. And, you know, there's just that one medication, but it's like, I think it was like kind of like a liquid that I would have to like take when I go to sleep. So I think there was like two options. One where you take the whole thing when you go to sleep, and then the other one where you take it and then like a couple hours later you actually have to put an alarm to wake up and take the rest of the medication so that you can continue to sleep. So it was like too much for me. And I prefer, you know, just having the immediate release, because I know that within 30 minutes I'll probably be fine. But it's also, you know, sometimes you like stay awake, or, you know, you just go to sleep. This is one of those disorders. You know, a lot of sleep disorders are not very well known. People know narcolepsy, but nobody knows idiopathic hypersomnia, which is very similar. I mean, I would have never known until I started like researching, like, this is what happens to me. And then, so there's narcolepsy type 1, type 2, and idiopathic hypersomnia. And they're all three, they each have their own specific symptoms, and that is why I wouldn't qualify for narcolepsy. On the sleep study, I was within the limits, but not enough for me to be narcoleptic, especially with my symptoms, because usually narcoleptic people would feel refreshed after they take naps, and that's not my case. Well, now it's a little bit, you know, part of the treatment, it is for me to take naps, which is insane, right? Like, I need to take a nap so I can feel a little bit more refreshed. But when you have a day, like, you work, like, you're gonna just go take a nap in the middle of the day? Like, what? So, you know, that's when the medications come in. And it's just a lot of things that are very unknown about this disorder. And it feels like, you know, I wish there was more information out there. Not just for me, but in general. And, you know, if you ever feel like that's something that's happening to you, like, maybe you should go see a sleep doctor. Because you never know. You know, I went to see a sleep doctor and found out that, you know, I have this disorder, and it helped me improve my life. Like, it did help me. Like, just the fact that I'm not falling asleep all the time, all day, like, it's just amazing to me. I mean, I still get very sleepy, but it's not as bad as it was before. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this information and you found it a little bit helpful. So yeah, you know, knowing a little bit more about me. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.